You know the distance between the person you promised to be at midnight and the person you actually are by noon. Most of us have lived in that gap so often, it has started to feel like where we belong. We usually expect a 30-day commitment to look like a cinematic montage, a seamless sequence of effortless self-improvement. But the reality isn't a movie. It's a random Tuesday afternoon where you desperately want to quit, but you don't. Day 1 feels like a declaration of war. You wake up with a surge of novelty that makes the hardest tasks feel noble. You aren't just completing a list. You're riding a wave of commitment that carries you through the gym, the work, and the early wake-up. But waves always pull back. By day 3, your body is recalculating. The alarm feels like an interruption rather than an invitation. And that day 1 to-do list looks like it was written by an optimistic stranger who didn't realize how exhausted you'd be by Wednesday. Many people respond to this by going all in, deleting apps, buying new journals, and tracking every minute on a whiteboard. But within 72 hours, they're right back to their old comforts, because they were relying on a feeling that was never meant to last. If you treat motivation as a permanent state, you've already lost. Feelings are just the weather, but a 30-day rewire is about building the climate you choose to live in. Days 4 through 10 are no man's land. The initial excitement is a distant memory, but the results are still invisible. You are standing in the space between your old life and a new one, holding nothing but a decision that is starting to feel heavier by the hour. Your brain is addicted to instant gratification. Digital distractions deliver tiny chemical pulses, creating a loop your biology depends on. But pursuing long-term goals creates chemical silence. Your brain interprets the silence as a physical threat, signaling danger. This perceived danger immediately triggers your creative resistance. Your mind will suddenly convince you that deep cleaning behind the refrigerator is an urgent priority. It will serve up any distraction it can find just to avoid the difficulty of focused work. Around day 10, your brain deploys structural doubt. It will argue, quite logically, why this whole project is a mistake. It will remind you of every time you tried this before and failed, asking why this time should be any different. But here is the truth. This time is different because it's day 10, and instead of quitting like you used to, you are still here. The environment hasn't changed, but your response to the urge to quit has. The second week feels like walking through wet concrete. The novelty is dead, and the exact same actions you took on day 1 now feel as repetitive and heavy as filing your taxes. Boredom is the primary assassin of long-term goals. It doesn't feel like a dramatic failure. It feels like a slow, invisible erosion where you start making tiny concessions until you've negotiated yourself right back to where you started. If you survive that erosion, something shifts around day 15. The internal noise stops. The daily negotiation ends. The mental courtroom simply shuts down. Biologically, the neural pathways for these new habits begin to calcify. Your brain accepts the routine, hardening the path. You've reached structural autopilot. It allows you to move forward with zero friction because the routine no longer requires a conscious decision. This shift often brings a new kind of irritation. You start noticing people who complain about their lives but refuse to change their patterns. It stings because you realize you are looking at a mirror of your own past behavior. This uncomfortable awareness is your new defensive mechanism. Once you clearly see the pattern of your old self, you can no longer slip back into those habits without realizing exactly what you're doing. By week 3, the mental blocks shatter. You reach a state of flow where 2 hours can pass in total absorption. It's the realization that this capability was always inside you, just muffled under layers of distraction and doubt. You cross the line from doing discipline to being disciplined. You no longer need a reason or a spark of motivation to start. Not doing the work would actually feel stranger than doing it. Think of this as your self-trust bank account. Every time you broke a promise in the past, you made a withdrawal. Eventually, the balance hit 0. But these 30 days are a series of daily deposits. By showing up, you've restored that balance, giving your word genuine gravity. The final days aren't triumphant. There is no swelling movie score. It feels quiet and ordinary, which is how you know the change is real. On day 30, you don't want to celebrate, you just want to keep going. Real change isn't forged at the finish line. It's built in the invisible, boring moments of resistance on day 11 and day 23. You haven't just completed a 30-day challenge, you've proven you are someone who keeps their word.